Shaunie Henderson today is living a life that feels calm, intentional, and deeply grounded compared to the highly public, dramatic years many people remember. While she is still a recognizable public figure, her current lifestyle reflects a woman who has chosen peace over noise and purpose over constant attention. The cameras may no longer follow her every move, but her influence hasn't disappeared, it has simply matured. In the present phase of her life, Shaunie has stepped away from unnecessary chaos. She is no longer interested in being at the center of conflict or public controversy. Instead, she moves with clarity and restraint. This shift is noticeable in how she speaks, how often she appears publicly, and what she chooses to share. Her silence now speaks louder than arguments ever did. One of the most defining aspects of Shaunie's current life is her strong commitment to faith. Spirituality has become a guiding force in her daily decisions, relationships, and outlook on life. She often emphasizes inner peace, prayer, and trust in God rather than external validation. Faith is no longer something she mentions casually, it is clearly the foundation of her lifestyle. Her marriage plays a major role in her present life. As the wife of Pastor Shaunie Henderson, Shaunie now occupies a space that blends public visibility with spiritual responsibility. This role has shifted how she presents herself to the world. She appears thoughtful, composed, and intentional, understanding that her actions are now seen through a broader lens. Rather than chasing attention, Shaunie seems comfortable supporting her husband's mission while still maintaining her own identity. She does not appear overshadowed or silenced, she appears aligned. Their partnership reflects mutual respect, shared values, and emotional maturity. In her current life, marriage is not a spectacle, it is a commitment. Professionally, Shaunie remains active, but in a different way. She continues to work as a businesswoman and executive producer, choosing projects carefully and strategically. Instead of being constantly in front of the camera, she operates behind the scenes, where control and boundaries matter more. This shift suggests growth, knowing when to lead quietly instead of loudly. Shaunie's present life also reflects a deep focus on legacy. She appears less interested in short-term popularity and more concerned with long-term impact. Whether it's business, relationships, or public influence, her decisions suggest she is thinking about what truly lasts. Legacy, for her, is about values, stability, and integrity. Motherhood remains central to Shaunie's life, though it has evolved as her children have grown. Today, she approaches motherhood with guidance rather than control. She supports her children's independence while staying emotionally present. Her role is no longer about managing every detail, but about offering wisdom, support, and protection when needed. Shaunie's presence is measured and intentional. She does not overshare or invite unnecessary speculation. What she shares reflects elegance, peace, and gratitude, travel moments, faith-based reflections, and supportive messages. The dramatic tone once associated with her public image is noticeably absent. Emotionally, Shaunie appears grounded and self-aware. She speaks with confidence and clarity, showing that she has done the inner work required to move forward without resentment. Rather than reacting to criticism or rumors, she often chooses silence. This restraint suggests emotional growth and strong self-control. Another significant change in her present life is how she handles public opinion. Shaunie no longer seems driven by the need to explain herself. Praise does not inflate her, and criticism does not derail her. This emotional independence allows her to move freely without being trapped by expectations. Her current lifestyle reflects balance. There is comfort and luxury, but it is subtle rather than flashy. There is influence, but it is used thoughtfully. There is visibility, but it is controlled. Shaunie seems to understand that real power comes from choice, not constant exposure. In interviews and public appearances, her tone is calm and reflective. She speaks about growth, healing, and lessons learned rather than dwelling on the past. This shows that she has processed much of what she has lived through and no longer carries the need to relive it publicly. What stands out most about Shaunie Henderson's present life is her transformation. Not a dramatic reinvention, but a quiet evolution. She did not disappear, she simply changed direction. Her journey now reflects stability, wisdom, and emotional maturity. She represents a version of success that is not loud or chaotic. A success rooted in peace, boundaries, and self-respect. In an era where many public figures chase relevance, Shaunie has chosen alignment instead. Rather than rewriting her past, Shaunie focuses on shaping her present with intention. She understands that growth does not always require explanation. Sometimes, it simply requires courage to choose differently. Shaunie Henderson today is not defined by who she used to be on television. She is defined by who she has chosen to become, a woman grounded in faith, steady in love, intentional in business, and at peace with herself. And in many ways, that quiet strength is her most powerful chapter yet. Shaunie Henderson appears to understand something many people take a lifetime to learn. Peace is not something you find, it is something you protect. Every visible choice she makes reflects this understanding. From how she schedules her time to how she engages with the public, there is a clear sense of boundaries. She no longer allows the outside world to dictate her emotional state or personal priorities. Her daily life seems structured around intention rather than obligation. Whether she is attending faith-based events, supporting her husband's ministry, or managing business commitments, there is no sense of urgency or chaos. Everything appears deliberate. This calm rhythm suggests that Shaunie values alignment over productivity, choosing what fits her values instead of what simply fills her calendar. Faith continues to shape her mindset in practical ways. It influences how she responds to criticism, how she handles pressure, and how she views success. Instead of reacting defensively, she often chooses grace. Instead of proving herself, she trusts her path. This spiritual grounding gives her a quiet confidence that does not rely on public approval. Shaunie's role as a pastor's wife has added depth to her public presence. It requires discernment, empathy, and emotional intelligence. She seems aware that people now look to her not just as a media figure, but as a source of example. Rather than resisting this responsibility, she embraces it with humility. She does not present herself as perfect, she presents herself as evolving. In her current life, Shaunie is careful about the energy she allows around her. She appears selective about friendships, collaborations, and environments. This selectiveness is not arrogance, it is self-preservation. She understands that growth requires distance from unnecessary noise, and her lifestyle reflects that wisdom. Her business mindset has also matured. Shaunie no longer seems interested in expansion for the sake of visibility. Instead, she focuses on sustainability and purpose. Her projects align with her values, allowing her to maintain control without sacrificing peace. This balance between ambition and well-being defines her present professional identity. Financial independence remains important to her, but it is no longer her loudest statement. Wealth exists quietly in the background of her life, not as a symbol, but as a tool. She appears more focused on freedom than accumulation, freedom of time, freedom of choice, and freedom of thought. Another noticeable aspect of Shaunie's current life is emotional discipline. She does not overshare her feelings, nor does she suppress them. She simply processes them privately. This emotional maturity allows her to remain composed even when conversations around her become speculative. Her communication style reflects growth. When she speaks publicly, her words are measured and thoughtful. She avoids inflammatory language and does not engage in unnecessary debates. This restraint shows that she understands the power of silence and the value of choosing words carefully. Her lifestyle today also reflects balance between visibility and privacy. She attends events, appears in curated moments, and maintains a presence, but always on her own terms. There is no sense of obligation to constantly update the world. This controlled visibility suggests confidence in who she is, regardless of who is watching. In her marriage, Shaunie appears grounded and secure. There is no need to perform happiness or defend her choices. Her confidence suggests a relationship built on mutual respect, communication, and shared values. This stability allows her to move through life without emotional turbulence. Shaunie's present life also reflects healing. Not the kind that requires public explanation, but the kind that shows up in posture, tone, and boundaries. Healing that allows someone to move forward without bitterness. Healing that doesn't demand acknowledgement. She now embodies emotional neutrality, able to acknowledge the past without living in it. This emotional freedom allows her to focus on what matters now rather than revisiting what once was. It is a powerful shift that many never achieve. Another defining feature of her current life is mentorship. While she may not publicly label it as such, her actions suggest a desire to guide and support others, especially women navigating transitions. Her example alone serves as quiet mentorship, showing that reinvention does not require drama. Shaunie's present lifestyle also reflects self-respect. She does not tolerate disrespect, misrepresentation, or unnecessary intrusion. Instead of responding with confrontation, she simply removes herself. This approach shows strength, not avoidance. She understands that growth sometimes means disappointing others. And she appears comfortable with that. The need to be understood by everyone no longer controls her decisions. Instead, she prioritizes inner clarity. Her current chapter is not about proving success, it is about maintaining alignment. She has already experienced public recognition. Now, she seems more invested in internal fulfillment. That shift changes everything. Shaunie Henderson today represents a version of womanhood that is often overlooked, powerful, calm, and self-governed. She does not seek validation through conflict or attention. She finds fulfillment through peace and purpose. In many ways, her present life is her quiet rebellion against chaos. A choice to live gently in a world that thrives on noise. A decision to protect her spirit in an environment that often consumes it. She shows that reinvention does not have to be loud. That healing does not need an audience. That success does not require constant visibility. Shaunie's journey now is inward-facing, value-driven, and deeply intentional. She has traded reaction for reflection, exposure for privacy, and urgency for peace. And perhaps that is the most powerful statement she could make, not through words, but through the life she is choosing to live right now. This chapter is not about headlines. It is about harmony. Not about applause, but about alignment. Shaunie Henderson's present life is not a retreat. It is a return, to self, to purpose, and to peace.